From incredible heights, birds watch over the earth and go where they please. They have uniquely built skills and dangerous traits like you won't believe, especially when they look as graceful as some incredible species we'll cover in this video. Today, we'll show you everything from birds big enough to attack toddlers, to majestic but deadly kings of the sky that are even lethal for their own kind. There's even one that uses its massive, powerful talons to hunt other birds. Keep your eyes peeled because we have some species of birds you're definitely going to want to avoid from here on out. African crown eagle. Birds usually don't hurt people, especially if they're not bothered. But the African crown eagle is different. It's the only bird known for attacking humans. Their claws are strong and sharp, like hooks made for catching prey. They can grab big animals like monkeys and maybe even humans. Long ago, there was a case where a child's remains showed marks like the ones this eagle makes. Even today, there are stories of these eagles hunting children. They're often seen in South African cities. They don't usually go after people. They prefer smaller animals like rats. But they can grab bigger animals too, like antelopes, and crush their skulls with their powerful claws. Great horned owls. Owls sometimes attack people, especially when they feel protective of their territory. The great horned owl is one of these birds, found in North and South America. They're bold and can attack unexpectedly. They're strong enough to hunt animals bigger than themselves, like cats, skunks, and porcupines. If their nest is disturbed, they might even attack larger animals, like dogs or humans. They're the only kind of bird that's known to have caused a person's death. European herring gull. Big things can seem tough, even when they're not huge. The European herring gull is a big bird seen a lot in Western Europe. They're famous for snatching food and going after people. What makes them even scarier is they team up. If one gull is bothered, it calls friends for backup, and they all attack together. That's a risky situation for anyone facing them. Bald eagle. The bald eagle is America's national bird and gets a lot of focus. They might not lift heavy things like some other birds, but they're strong because of their big claws and huge wings. An eagle's claws are about 10 times stronger than a human hand and can squeeze really hard, up to 400 pounds per square inch. With their amazing wings, eagles can soar higher in the sky than most birds. They've been the symbol of the United States since 1782, making them one of the most famous and easily recognizable birds around. California condor. The California condor is a big bird that's rare now. It's one of the largest in the world and the biggest flying bird in the Americas. Its wingspan can be almost 10 feet wide, and it can fly really high and fast. Human activity is the main danger for them because they're smart and strong. They can live up to 80 years, but usually around 60. They mostly eat dead animals, helping clean up places. They might seem bold or a bit forceful, but they usually stay away from people unless they feel threatened. Cassowary. The cassowary is a really interesting but risky bird when it comes to danger. They live in Australia and New Guinea and are quite speedy in their homes. They usually don't attack people, but their big, sharp nails can cause harm if they do. They can run super fast, up to 31 miles per hour, especially in the bushes. In 2012, there was an incident in Queensland where a tourist got kicked by one and fell into the water. Pitahui. Sure, there are dangerous birds, but did you know there's one that's poisonous? The pitahui bird makes a toxin called batrachatoxin, just like the deadly poison dart frog in South America. This toxin can hurt you if you touch it. But the good thing is, these birds are easy to spot because they have bright red and black colors. They don't make the toxin themselves. They get it from eating certain beetles. It's a dangerous bird, but as long as you steer clear of its colors and avoid touching it, you'll be safe. Hawks. Birds come from ancient creatures like raptors that lived on Earth long ago. Hawks aren't strong enough to grab a big dog, but they could snatch a small dog, cat, or even a little kid if they wanted to. Hawks can be risky because they might hurt people a bit, especially when they're nesting. Usually it's just small injuries, but sometimes it can be more serious. Ostriches. Ostriches are huge birds that can't fly. They can weigh as much as 330 pounds and stand around 9 feet tall. They have really strong legs that have 2 big toes and can give powerful kicks. These kicks can be deadly for even lions or other big animals. Sometimes, though not often, people can get hurt or even killed by these kicks. But usually it's because people upset the bird. There's a myth that ostriches bury their heads in the sand when they're scared, but actually they just lie low and stretch out their necks when they sense danger. Golden eagles. Golden eagles are smart and brave. They swoop down on their prey from the sun and sneak up on them so they can't get away. Each of their feet can squash with the force of 1,200 pounds per square inch. That's super strong. These eagles are big, fast, and really good at flying. They have a sharp beak and shiny gold feathers on their head and neck. Some old cultures think they're special. People have studied these birds a lot, especially in the western United States. They usually eat small or medium-sized animals like reptiles, rabbits, or geese. But they're not picky eaters. They'll hunt almost anything, even animals as big as lambs, deer, or young bears and wolves. This made some ranchers in the US think the eagles were taking away their animals. Magpies. Magpies are fierce and mean during their swooping season. They go after anyone they see as a threat. They fly in a crazy way and often go for people, pets, or even other birds. This causes lots of injuries every year in places where they live between July and November. It's just something people expect during that time. What's interesting is that magpies have long tails as long as their bodies, and they're related to crows and jays. They have a cool white spot that sets them apart and makes them easy to spot when they're flying. Lammergeiers, also called bearded vultures, are special birds that eat bones. They live in places like Central Asia, Eastern Africa, and Spain. When they find bones, they drop them from really high up to crack them open and get to the tasty insides. These birds have big wings and a tail that looks different from other birds that hunt for food. They're very special because of their strong beaks and clever ways of finding food. Snowy owl. The snowy owl comes from the cold Arctic areas and is a big, beautiful kind of owl. People are a big danger to them, and not many other animals bother them, except for Arctic foxes, jaegers, and wolves. Even though these creatures might try to attack them, snowy owls are strong and protect their territory. If they have to, they can use their sharp claws to scare away almost any enemy, and if it's a person, they might aim for the head and eyes, which can be really dangerous. Great Northern Loon. The Great Northern Loon is a big bird that dives underwater. It has a pointy beak good for fishing and defending itself. Just by looking at it, you can see how its sharp beak could be dangerous to humans. If it goes for someone's head or neck like it goes for its prey in nature, it could be really bad. Even though bald eagles, gulls, sea otters, ravens, and skunks might try to hunt them, loons are pretty good at taking care of themselves. Barred owl. The barred owl is quite impressive, like its snowy relative. It's a big, round-headed owl, commonly found in American forests. What sets it apart is how silently it moves, thanks to its special feathers. This quietness makes it risky for humans because if they get startled, they attack swiftly and skillfully. Plus, since they're so quiet, it's tough to defend against their sharp claws if you're in the wrong spot. Mute swan. The mute swan is a big water bird found in Europe weighing up to 28 pounds. They might seem nice, but they can be dangerous. When people get too close, especially when the swans are nesting, they get really aggressive. It's safer to stay far away from them because they can attack suddenly. They hiss and strike, causing big injuries, especially to the eyes. Lappet-faced vulture. Vultures usually like to stay away from trouble and find food without bothering anyone, but the lappet-faced vulture is different. It's the toughest and most aggressive vulture in Africa. If it sees food, other vultures back off and let it have its way. Unlike most vultures that stick to leftovers, this one hunts small animals, fish, birds, and even grabs eggs from nests. It's not afraid to dig into termite homes or nests to get a meal. It prefers the tougher bits of food that others don't want, and its strong beak helps it do that. Martial eagle. The martial eagle is a really strong bird, also known as the leopard of the air. It's one of the toughest predators in the bird world. This eagle is big and powerful, so much that it can knock down a grown man and break an arm with just one foot. The heaviest ones can weigh about 14 pounds. They aren't as brave as other eagles like the crowned ones, but they protect their area a lot. These eagles nest in trees and usually stay with one partner. What's interesting is they claim big areas as their own, kind of like how people own land. Wedge-tailed eagle. The wedge-tailed eagle is known for being curious and aggressive. Even other birds don't like their attitude, and some, like magpies, team up to bother them first. These eagles can attack people flying hang gliders and paragliders, and they're also good at wrecking those small flying cameras people use for looking around in Africa. Normally, they keep to themselves and are pretty big unless someone bothers them. With the right training, they can be playful, fetching sticks or playing games like tag with dogs, So that's all for today's video. If you found this video helpful, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell for more.